Welcome back to Commercial Finance Experts Academy. My name is Suet Trun. Hey, I want to touch you on this video about the other benefits that you as a commercial finance expert to help your client with their financing. Okay, off the bat is, so the one thing that I like to offer my client is that we have better options than just going straight to the B lenders. In a lot of scenarios where credit score is a big issue, so let's look at the B lending landscape. When you have credit issue, say low credit score, low score, versus personal income, like low personal income, zero income, or sometimes you have some kind of potential issues with property needs update, right? So basically a few things. These are for one of, well, how about down payment even? Yeah, down payment. Down payment source is a problem, right? I'll go into the other topics regarding to the restrictions and all the liabilities and all that stuff on the right hand side later. The one thing that I look at is this. When we're in looking at, for example, just residential property, okay? So you got an investor client come to you and say, look, I have this property and I want to buy to fix and flip, right? There is absolutely very few lenders that will allow this to happen, right? So even on the residential side, what you can do in that scenario is very limited to the B side or the private side. So the B lending space caters after all these issues that have come up in the past where you as a mortgage broker face on a daily basis. So if you do come across there is some issue with the person's credit score, either too low or they have very diminished credit, right? Limited credit. Those are two big ones that I know from the credit side. So if they do have a low credit score, I'll maybe do refinance, even the small business lending side, credit score as low as 543 beacon, right? On the residential, very difficult. If that's the only single loan applicant on the file and the score is 543, chances that no A lender on the residential mortgage broker side will touch it, right? And the other option that you face when it's a very thin credit as well is high rate. So whether Home Trust, Equitable, or any of the trust company will finance it, they give you a much higher rate. Normally speaking, about at least 1% to 1.5% higher, okay? And I don't really think that's ideal for most situations, for most clients. If we're able to find an alternative, which I have in the past on small business lending, and the rates were very comparable, maybe a quarter or as high as 0.5% higher than any residential mortgage out there, rather than going for a 1% to 1.5% higher, plus the 1 to 2% fee on the B side or the private side, right? So let's get rid of this. I'll go to the next video regarding these things. Right now, all I want to say is that instead of bringing the clients to the B lending side, where you have this issue, you might have a better alternative. For personal income wise, if the personal income is not as high, or if they have their own income T4 in their own corporate income, you may want to look at it outside of the residential mortgage broker channel, because if their low income is preventing them because their operating company, all the money is being kept in the operating company, and not most of the lenders won't look at it or allow it, you might look into small business lending, commercial financing side, because we will allow that in our space, okay? The other thing too, if the corporate dividend or T4 is up and down year after year, that is okay as well. We'll use either all of the corporate income or at least 50% of corporate income on the commercial side. Small business lending or commercial financing side. Property needs some update. Now, you see it all the time in Realtors MLS, right? As is, where is, or TLC and all that, right? And it's not ideal because most lenders will not finance that. They want good property. They want to make sure that when they close it, the property is in good condition. And unless there's a major exception, they won't allow this. Whereas on the financing side, if you look at the small business lending or commercial financing side, commercial is the best way to approach this one. They allow you to have interest reserve. They allow you to have interest-only loans for the time that you require, 3, 6 months, or 12 months to renovate the property. And a lot of time is the loan amount too. I've had loan amounts where the update are like $250,000 to do the renovation. That's an extreme renovation. When any residential lender looks at it and says, that's huge. There is so much risk because they look at why would a property need that much update? Well, if the property is in Vancouver, it's going to be like $1.2 million to purchase and it's a rundown property. Chances it's going to require a huge amount of money to update that property. We had one in North Van because of that. They required $250,000, almost $250,000 to update the whole entire property. But at the end, once they finish it, it'd be worth, instead of 1.25 they bought it, it'd be worth 1.8, 1.9, right? So you can go back to them and we get in a reappraisal and refinance it with a better rate. This, even on a purely interest only on a commercial side, it's fully open, and the interest rate is, yes, it'd be between prime plus 1.5 to prime plus 2.5. It's not as bad as private lending side where everybody else is going into that, right? When they come across something like this, everybody's going to, whoa, the property's so bad, let's get a private financing into the done deal plus a 2% fee on top. We're talking about 8% plus 2% fee is like a 10%. Yeah, 10% interest only. Whereas prime plus 1.5 to prime plus 2.5 is way more appealing to the client, right? So your client feels way better. You automatically increase your value because you know you're doing an awesome job doing this, because private side financing is going to hurt them big time in cash flow and end results for fix and flip, right? Down payment source. Well, I like the private side too, because they don't care where the down payment's coming from. It could be borrowed, bags, other than steel. You can get it from any source possible, and they don't really require a 90 days or 30 days for that matter, right? And that same can be said with the commercial financing side. Most lenders would only want a snapshot, and possibly if it's recent purchase on a huge renovation and all that, they may want to find a 30 days statement and to explain where the money's coming from. So even if the money is coming from the corporation or borrow funds, they don't really care. If it's from the personal side, it doesn't matter. Unless it's borrowed from the operating company, it's not a concern to the commercial lender. Okay? So down payment can be from any source, and most of the time we just need a snapshot. Any source. No need to personal debt service. Personal debt service. Right. So as long as the client has the ability to pay on their own, doesn't really matter. They don't really question about it, as long as they make some money, some decent income to be able to service their current existing car loans or mortgages that they currently have on their personal side. And they're very, very lenient. They're not as black and white. It's mostly exceptions on the commercial financing side anyhow. Okay, so hopefully you learned something new today from the focus when you do commercial lending, when you do B lending side, consider commercial financing as an option rather than go straight to private lending, and you save your client a lot of money, as well as put that 2% fee that you usually give to the other lender, to the private lender, into your company instead, right? So hopefully you like it. Click like on the YouTube channel out there, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, you get automatic updates all the time. Take care. Have yourself a good day.